Welcome to Summon Your Superhuman. I am your host, Rian Spiza, and today it is the 22nd of the 2nd, 2025, which marks 4 years of this podcast's inception. So that's exciting. I can't believe we've actually got to this point. And if you're watching this and wondering why I'm all dolled up, I'm not dolled up for the anniversary. But for my dear friend's birthday celebration, which I'm going to this evening. However, I did want to properly kick off this episode, as I probably didn't do the best job, and again, it's kind of relevant to this conversation, which is about self-talk, because my previous introduction probably wasn't good enough and I want to do it properly. And so here I am. Because if you are a high achiever, we're all or nothing people. We really don't understand the concept of half-assing things. We don't just give things a minimal effort. We really have to feel like we've given it our all. And I think that's an exceptional quality to have. And so I don't try to criticize myself too much when I feel like I could have done more. I mean, it's still a work in progress, trust me, because that's where my most negative self-talk comes in. It's like, oh, I could have done better, or I should have done better, or, that wasn't my best work. And I don't like feeling that way. So when I pride myself on trying to give my all to everything that I do, and I really hope that comes through, and I think it does, because most people feel that when they interact with me. It's like I'm here to give you my full attention and to basically help you in whichever way I can to the best of my ability. And worst case scenario, it's like knowing that, okay, I can help you to this point, but to get you to the next point, it's not going to be me. It's going to be something or someone else. And it's a wisdom in understanding that we can't do everything. And it's great to have a network and to collaborate with other people. And yeah, don't go about this journey alone. And for this to be now the 73rd episode for the podcast, which I assure you I really prayed it would be more, but alas, it is what it is. And I'm still very proud of the fact that I've done 73 episodes. I've had a ton of those conversations with exceptional people that I'm now proud to say are my friends, are my colleagues, and are people that, I can lean on and contact and have a conversation with. It's that to me is a privilege that I don't take lightly. And so for that, I'm grateful to be at this position 4 years later. And I really want to up the ante again. Like I did the first year. First year was excellent. And then it's kind of tapered off. And so it's time to kick things back up. And you'll notice today is going to be a little bit of a different format. So let's get into the conversation a little bit deeper about self-talk. It's hard to believe that this marks 4 years of Summon Your Superhuman podcast. And I'd like to say that I was like, yay, wow, that's amazing. But in actuality, I was like, really? 4 years? No, it can't be 4 years. And then I realized, yes, it's been 4 years. And I haven't done 100 episodes yet. That's where my mind goes. And I haven't been consistent. And if I haven't done 100 episodes in 4 years, then, well, this will be the 4th year. So if I average it out, I've done about 22 episodes a year. And in my mind, that makes me feel a little bit better, because it's almost like 26, and that's almost like fortnightly a year. But in reality, that was mostly in the first year and the second year. And then it kind of, maybe in the first 18 months even. And then after that, it kind of dropped off for a variety of reasons, which I've shared along the way. And that's kind of why I wanted today's episode to be about self-talk, because this is the perfect example of where my self-talk goes. And it first goes to a level of disappointment in myself for not showing up as often as I would like. But then I shift it to, well, at least I have shown up, and at least I have produced now 73 episodes, and that those episodes continue to get views and continue to be a resource and a library for people who need that particular topic or subject. So I find myself now thinking I need to address self-talk as a subject on its own. I was reflecting about these last 3 to now 4 years, and the challenges that I've faced have also been rewarding, because it has taught me a lot. As a recovered perfectionist, I've had to continually have the discussion with myself every week, literally every week. And it's, can I do an episode this week? And if I can't because of time or life, life happens to us and for us. And we often don't have the energy, the inspiration, or just the ability to sit down and record an episode. And I've had to teach myself to show myself some grace, but also to call myself out on excuses when I know that I could find the time and the energy if I really wanted to. So it's been a very hard juggling act between give yourself some grace, it's been a tough week, or just do it, stop making excuses and get it done. Which quite frankly leads me to the dangers of negative self-talk, because when we think about this, the way that we speak to ourselves sometimes, as a parent, as a teacher, as a coach, as a leader in any capacity, you would never speak to anyone else like the way you speak to yourself sometimes. Not even close. Not even any realm of the language would you use, or tonality would you use with your family or friends. So why do we speak to ourselves like that? And what are the dangers of speaking to yourself like that? Because if you think about how that would make someone you care about feel, that's how you're making yourself feel. And it's no wonder that there is a higher level of depression, anxiety, all these sorts of things. Because if you're speaking to yourself like that, and you think that others may think of you like that, or they must think I'm a failure because I've started a podcast and I don't show up every week like all of these, other podcasters. And well, then now that's a level of comparison, isn't it? And I've dealt very well with not comparing myself to others and trying to be proud of the fact that I actually have started a podcast and that I have shown up and provided value on 72 other occasions. So what value would it really be to continue to speak to yourself in that negative way that, like I said, you would not even speak to anyone you care about
Not even a stranger would you speak to the way that you speak to yourself sometimes. On another note, do we think that by speaking to ourselves like shit, is that very motivating for us to get anything done? You know, we're not just even talking about mental health or how we feel about ourselves and, discouraging ourselves and our confidence. When someone speaks to you in a disrespectful manner, does that make you or motivate you to want to do things? No, not really. So again, there's a danger in that negative self-talk it just paralyzes you, a bit like perfection, really, when you think about it. So when I work with clients and I hear them use language like, I have to do this and I have to do that and I should do that and I should do this. And I think, well, one, where is that expectation coming from, especially when it comes to should language? I should do that. Why? Like, who said? And, oh, I have to, go to the grocery store and I have to go to work and I have to do this project and I have to do this. And I think I always try to switch the language to you get to. You get to go to work. You have a job, right? A lot of people don't have a job or would love a job of your position. To be in your position, to be earning what you're earning, to be doing what you're doing. You get to do that. Oh, I have to go to the grocery, I have to cook dinner. You get to go to the grocery store and buy groceries. And you get to make dinner for your loved ones, for your family, for whoever, for yourself, so that you can be healthy and fit and strong. You get to do a lot of those things that you feel is a burden. You get to do that. I get to record this podcast. I get to tell you that it's been 4 years now since I started this, and that I get to do it on my new camera and with my new microphone in a new format and style that I'm testing. And you get to tell me whether you think it's thumbs down or thumbs up. So when we think about shifting our language to positive self-talk, we've got to start thinking about the get-tos, right? But it's also shifting a focus towards gratitude and things that we can control, because often when we feel like we're not in control or unsure about where the direction is going, then we feel fearful and we feel all these sorts of things, and it creates doubt and it creates a language associated with that. So if we feel like we're grateful for the opportunity, we're grateful for our positions of work, we're grateful for the clients that we get to work with, or the projects we get to work on, and so forth. We're grateful for the car that we get to drive to go commute to the places we need to go. It may seem silly, but it's the little things that we take for granted. It's when we learn to appreciate the wins, the little things that we get to do every day. And that's why I like to say, to my partner, it's like, what are the 5 wins you've had today? And that's not something I've made up. These are things that have existed in personal development for years. But it's what are those 5 things that you're grateful for today, or what are the 5 wins? Some people do it at dinner time with their family, or you could do it before bed, or you can do it in a gratitude journal of sorts. And so I journal every day, but I also like to have these discussions just to, again, help me appreciate what I've been able to do in my day, and also to hear about what my partner's been able to do, and to just have that discussion so that we can appreciate what actually, yeah, that was pretty cool that I was able to have that discussion today with so-and-so, and they were feeling pretty down, and after that they felt a lot better. Just little things like that we take for granted, things that we learn, and things that have ultimately failed, but at the same time it's like we've learned something really valuable from that. That time where I could have had road rage on the commute from work, but I chose to be patient and realize, well, maybe that person has somewhere really urgent to go to and they're not just a jerk. So ultimately, it's going to take a level of self-awareness. It's noticing how you speak to yourself, the words that you use when things go wrong. And most of the time, it's when you're stressed. When you're stressed out about a deadline or anything, how do you speak to yourself when you're stressed? And noting down that language. You could even journal about keeping note of things that you constantly say, like, oh, you're such an idiot. And for people that I work with who, I guess, have the tendencies to binge out, and then they're just like, they call themselves names. What names do you call yourself when you do things where you feel like you've slipped up? What is the language that you use? And try to look at ways where you can reframe that language and change it to something more forgiving and more kind. Because that's how you would speak to somebody else when you were saying, if they were calling themselves, oh, you lazy, blah, blah, blah. You would be like, no, don't be silly. You would change the language, in a loving way. So I want you to do that kind of loving exercise with yourself and start thinking about ways that you can combat those tendencies to be cruel and flip it to be more kind to yourself. Another thing that we do is set unrealistic goals and expectations for ourselves. Like for this podcast, I've always mentioned that I wanted to produce weekly episodes. And even though I was successful at doing that in the first year, my circumstances were very different. And circumstances change, and priorities change, and your responsibilities change, and so forth should your expectations. So what I've had to adjust to and make peace with is that I'm not always going to be able to show up every week to do these podcasts as much as I would love to. And so I need to set a more realistic goal for myself. So then I say, fortnightly. And then I have failed to do that at times. And then I go, monthly. Now, I will say, ultimately I would love to do fortnightly. And I think that is a little bit more of a realistic goal. But reflecting back on the last few months, it has been absolute chaos. And I believe that a lot of other people have experienced that over these November, December, January, and now it's February. These months have gone by an absolute blink. So to think that, we're going to pump out weekly episodes during this chaos of time, and most people don't even have time to listen to these. So these are all things that I'm just sharing the language that I've had to use in my own journey, and hopefully that you can take away some of that in your own. So my commitment, as you should start to think about yours, is where is an area of your life where you feel like you're speaking negatively to yourself or about yourself, and what are you going to do and what can you do to then improve upon the way that you speak to yourself so that you don't ultimately decrease your confidence and make yourself feel so defeated, so that you can then inspire yourself to take action. Because you can't really inspire yourself to take action from a very low place. So today's episode is more about self-talk, and we're not always going to be able to speak so positively to ourselves. That's not realistic. But at least let's pick up when we are being a little bit mean and see if we can flip that and be a little bit more kinder to ourselves. I hope that this has been helpful. And if you have been a long-time listener or now viewer, I'd really like to thank you for coming along on this journey with me. And I will try to continue. I will continue to share the struggles, the challenges, and all of the things that come up on my own journey with you so that we can summon our superhumans together. Because ultimately, we all want to strengthen our mind, body, and soul muscles and stay amazing. So thank you so much. And don't forget to subscribe and all that stuff. But I just want to thank you so much for being here and listening this far. You are the real deal if you're actually listening to the end of the video. So thank you.